Hello ladies, gentlemen, and computer failures. I'm Chains, welcome to the Thechainsproject. Today's reading is Genesis chapter 8, verse 1 to 19. The flood subsides. Finally. Too much water. But God remembered Noah, and all the wild animals, and all the domestic animals that were with him in the ark. And God made a wind blow over the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of the heavens were closed. The rain from the heavens was restrained, and the waters gradually receded from the earth. At the end of 150 days the waters had abated. And in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The waters continued to abate until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, the tops of the mountains appeared. At the end of 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark that he had made, and sent out the raven. And it went to and fro until the waters were dried up from the earth. Then he sent out the dove from him, to see if the waters had subsided from the face of the ground. But the dove found no place to set its foot, and it returned to him to the ark. For the waters were still on the face of the whole earth. So he put out his hand and took it, and brought it into the ark with him. He waited another 7 days, and again he sent out the dove from the ark. And the dove came back to him in the evening, and there in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. So Noah knew that the waters had subsided from the earth. Then he waited another 7 days, and sent out the dove, and it did not return to him any more. In the 601st year, in the 1st month, of the 1st day of the month, the waters were dried up from the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and saw that the face of the ground was drying. In the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. Then God said to Noah, "Go out of the ark, you, your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives with you. Bring with you every living thing that is with you of all flesh, birds and animals, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, so that they may abound on the earth, and be fruitful and multiply on the earth." So Noah went out with his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives. And every animal, every creeping thing, and every bird, everything that moves upon the earth, went out of the ark by families. So God, walking around one day and then remembers, oh, yeah, I left Noah on a boat and I flooded the earth. About that. He then decides to turn off the water. It's cool. No one notices this because the ark kind of landed on a mountain. God isn't very good at placing things in nice open fields. Kind of a weakness of his. And then Noah sends out a raven to see what's going on. The raven flies around for a little bit, doesn't come back. Noah's like, alright, I can't tell if that's good or not. I'm going to send out a dove. And the dove goes out and it flies around. It comes back and it's like, lots of water out there still. So Noah's like, alright, I'll wait a little while. A little while later, sends the dove out again and comes back with a stick. Noah's like, that's good. I like sticks. That's a good sign. I'll wait a little while again, and then I'll send the dove out again and see what happens. Sends out the dove. Dove doesn't come back. He realizes that obviously there's no more water. So he opens the front door, sees it's still kind of damp out there. So he's like, alright, everybody stay inside. We don't want to get our feet wet. Wait a little while, and then God's like, hey Noah, it's cool. You can come out, dude. It's fine now. So then Noah and everybody finally leave, and they get out of the ark, and there's lots of baby making that happens. Now I know some of you are going, hey Chains, there was a mountain name, can we go find the ark? Let's go, get your hat, we're gonna go. No, we can't do that, mainly because it's not very specific of where it is. It says the Ararat Mountains, hopefully I'm saying that right, I don't know. It's a mountain in northeastern Turkey, but it's not very specific, because number one, it's a really big mountain. Take a while to excavate that whole thing. And also, it could be referring to the entire mountain range, which is a lot bigger than one mountain. Or, if you want to go into another holy text, the Qur'an also depicts Noah's amazing flood, but it puts the ark landing on a totally different mountain, Al-Judai mountain, hopefully I'm saying that right, and that's 200 miles south of the Ararat mountain in Turkey. So we've got a whole mountain range and then a whole other mountain to look for an ark. And even if we did find a really old piece of cypress wood, we couldn't really tell if it was just a regular cypress tree that fell down or if it was part of the ark. And of course, every year there's people that are like, we found it, it's amazing. It's a piece of wood that's been fossilized. We can't do anything with it. Even if we did find it, who would really want to go to a temple that was built on the top of a mountain to worship Noah? It would just be ridiculous. So why people are looking for this baffles me. Now, this story does give itself some credibility. It just doesn't have the magical water disappearing magically. It lets it drain, which is, a credible thing. Normally, like in a movie, you'll see the water's there, then it's gone. The water just disappears, which isn't exactly what happens in the story. It takes a while. Really long time for the water to go down, which is realistic if you've been watching the news and notice all the floods in the States or in Manitoba. There's a lot of water. It's not just instantly sinking into the ground. It's also really, really wet. Now, the Bible gives us some more time in this segment. It's always good to look at numbers because they're fun. Well, at least I think they are. And it tells us in the 601st year, 1st day, 1st month. Now, this could be referring to one of two possible things. Number one, it's Noah's birthday. Woo! Anybody get any cake? I'm hungry still. Or it could be referring to the first month on the first day after Noah's birthday. It's not very specific, depending on if you're going to use a 360-day Hebrew lunar calendar. Now let's see how long everybody was on the ark for. Once I had to get my calculator out, and we got a carry a cubit, divide by the magical Bible coefficient, and about 370 days they were on the ark. So that's just over a year from the calendar that we presently use. Now let's look at the moral of this story, which is the exact same as all of the previous flood stories. It's a lot of repetition of do what God says and you will be fine. You'll notice that God doesn't tell Noah to leave the ark until the very end, when Noah could have left the ark a whole bunch of times. You know, he's like, it's on a mountain, okay, there's no water around here near the top, still not going to go out, make everybody stay in the ark. Sends out the dove, comes back, it's like we can see trees now. Let's wait. Noah opens the door, he can see the ground's pretty much okay to walk on from, you know, a damp, getting your shoes wet perspective. Still doesn't go out until God's like, okay, go. It's totally cool, now you can leave. It's okay. What happened to the people who didn't listen to God? They're the ones that all drowned. This story is just a lot of repetition of do what God says or bad stuff will happen. If you do what he says, you'll be just fine and get to be on a boat with a zoo. That is it for this episode of the Thechainsproject. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, hate, emails, ranting, stuff, want to tell me how your grandma's surgery went, email below, leave it in a comment. I'd love to read it. It would be so much fun because nobody talks to me. And I was working on an outro, but that blue box behind me decided to have a seizure.